Hey guys, how's it going? It's Target here. I am really excited right now. It's our third series of Be a GM, and as you probably already noticed from the title of the video, we're the Carolina Hurricanes. It came right down to the wire in the vote, and I kid you not, the vote was literally tied at 24 apiece for Carolina and Montreal, and Dallas brought up the rear at 16. So they were still in the race, and they actually made a pretty good push right at the end. I think that if I had given it another week, we might have seen even closer numbers than that. But whatever the case, what I ended up doing was flipping a coin, a good old Canadian loonie, and unfortunately it didn't pay off in the favor of the Montreal Canadiens. Heads for Carolina, tails for Montreal, and we flipped heads. And I thought I'd give the benefit of the doubt, and I did best 2 out of 3. But it was heads both times. So I ended up going with Carolina, and I know that I said right off the bat that I really wanted to do that anyway, so I'm kind of happy about it. But upon looking at it, you know, I'm a little bit disappointed I didn't get to do Montreal. Not only for my Montreal fans out there, the subscribers that are Montreal fans, and to get a Canadian team, but also because of the talent that they have. You know, they've got an elite goalie. I mean, Carolina has an elite goalie too. But the thing that I like about Montreal, they have the potential. You know, I mean, we're talking Brendan Gallagher, a guy who I've been following for a little while now, since the Vancouver Giants days, not Montreal days. You know, and then you've got Alex Galchenyuk as well. Both guys that are going to just blossom into absolutely fantastic players. And not to mention PK Subban on defense. But we're with Carolina now, and we've got some good players on this team. So I am excited, very excited to bring you the Carolina Hurricanes. So, just a couple things right off the bat. First off, we're going to be playing with injuries this time, and I found that that might be a little bit more interesting. The reason being is that I wanted to be the most realistic NHL experience. Having said that, the injuries aren't going to be at max, because I've played with injuries before, and it's crippling, the effect that it has on your team, and how often you have to stop to actually change your lines and stuff. It's nuts. It's ridiculous. We're trying to get this thing flowing as quickly as possible. Another thing I'm changing is the length of the videos. I know I've been keeping them at about 15 minutes. We're going to look to extend those to around 30-minute videos. So you guys, when I release an episode, it's going to be a lot longer, a lot more in-depth, and you guys are going to have a lot more say this time around in terms of where we go with the team and, you know, players that I'm looking for. I'll give you guys kind of like a, here's what I want to do. Can you give me any suggestions? And I'd like to get your guys' input on where this team could go, because this is about you guys, and this is about our team. Not my team, it's our team. So first things first, I want to assess where our team sits, what we have in terms of offense. So let's go and take a look at our contracts to start. We'll start with our centers. So we've got Eric Stahl down the middle, and he is a first-line center. I know that without even looking. Yeah, a first-line forward, and he's a playmaker, okay? 6'4", 205 pounds. He's a big boy, and he is an elite player. He is, how old? Sorry, he's like 30. He's only 27. Jeez, 30. He's getting up there, though, but 27, he's going to be with us for this entire thing. I can guarantee it, as long as he maintains that first-line status. Jordan Stahl picked up in the offseason. From the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's a second-line forward. He's a two-way forward. That's the kind of player that I would like to have, too, because I like two-way forwards, especially ones as good as he is. He's probably the best two-way forward in the game. He's phenomenal. All right? Tiomo Rutu. They've got him listed as a second-line forward as well. He, too, is a two-way forward. So, Carolina is nice that they've got these two-way forwards. So, we could play him on the third line because he's 29 years old. We don't need that much. Okay, we've got Yuri Talusti. He's 77 overall, third-line scoring forward. Tim Brandt. He's a depth forward. So, like I said, we're going to be needing depth players, and I'd like to get ones with high face-offs. For a depth forward, Tim Brandt's got good face-offs, and I could definitely see him sticking around for a while to play that role. And Zach Dalp, I think it's Dalp, it might be Dalpy. He is a minor scoring forward, so he will end up in the minors playing center. He has very low potential, so I don't see him sticking around very long. All right, left wing, Jeff Skinner. None other than the prodigy himself, Jeff Skinner. Drafted 7th overall in 2010. A lot of people were calling him the best player to come out of that draft. That's hard to argue when you've got Tyler Seguin and Taylor Hall coming out of that one, and Cam Fowler. You know, it's hard to say. But Jeff Skinner, he surprised everybody that other year, winning the Calder, 63 points in 82 games. He had a good season. If Taylor Hall was not hurt, Taylor Hall probably would have won that. So I think Jeff Skinner definitely got away with by the skin of his teeth on that. Okay, so UC Jokinen's our next one. He's a second line forward, 81 overall. He's okay. He's not exactly what I would call my ideal player to play on that wing, but that's okay. Drayson Bowen, he's a minor scoring forward. And then I can only imagine that Brett Sutter is a other forward. He's got a long way to go, Brett Sutter. He's a grinder, so grinders, you know, they take a long time to get up there. All right, so right wing now, we've got Alexander Semin. He's probably a second line forward, yep. So we are missing a first line winger. We're missing one first line winger. And we don't really have any players with high potential that are going to be filling that void. So we're going to be looking to do that this year, I think. Chad LaRose, he's a third line scoring forward grinder, right wing. 80 overall, that's not too bad for a grinder. I really like that. I think I could definitely utilize him in a good role here. Pat Dwyer, he's a minor checking forward. Yeah, he won't be playing up. And then we got Tim Wallace, two-way forward. He's got no rank at this point. And Wes Garth, we know, is a tough guy. I don't like tough guys. The reason being is they pretty much are useless besides the grinder. So I think I'd rather have the grinder on my team and just get big sons of bitches, you know. I mean, Kevin Westgarth is huge, 6'4", 234, but he's a grinder. He's a tough guy. I'd rather have a grinder with those kind of stats. You can get Ben Eager with those kind of stats, and he's 66 overall. He's going to be hurting the team more than anything. So I think we'll skip going with Kevin Westgarth. On defense, this is my area of concern for the Carolina Hurricanes in terms of young defensemen. Yoni Pitkinen's their top defenseman. He's only a top 4 pairing, and probably Tim Gleason as well. Yeah, top 4 pairing, top 4 pairing defensemen, and well, the positive, I guess, in that sense is one is offensive and one is defensive, and I will get into that here, and I'm going to explain what we're going to be doing this year because it's going to be a little bit different. I have a serious plan I've been thinking about. I hope to utilize it. So we got Jamie McBain. He's a top 6 defenseman, 78 overall. Justin Falk is a top 6 defenseman as well. He's a two-way defenseman, 77 overall. Joe Corvo, he's an offensive defenseman, top 6 again, 76 overall. And we got Bobby Sanguinetti. He is a two-way defenseman, 74 overall. They put him in a minor top 2 defensive pairing. He doesn't have the best potential. You've got Justin Falk and Jamie McBain that both have 4-star gold potential, so that means they're still improving. Tim Gleason and Yoni Pitkinen, they both have 4-star potential, but it's white now, so that means that they've reached their top potential. Of course, in goaltending, we have Cam Ward, 88 overall, 4.5-star player. He is maxed out. And the backup is Justin Peters. He's a 3.5-star goalie, and he could definitely stick around as our backup goalie. Sorry, my dogs are barking. Shut up, you two. Stop that. 78 overall. He can definitely play as our backup goalie, especially considering with injuries on and stuff like that and fatigue. He could end up getting a lot more playing time than goalies of the past. Let's take a look at who's in the system in terms of all skaters and see who the highest potential players are. Okay, Victor Rask, a good centerman who I'd definitely like to see up. He's a big guy, I believe. 6'1", 192. He's not bad. They got him listed as a sniper, but yeah, I could see Victor Rask. Victor Rask is a strong player. I definitely could see him playing with us. Ryan Murphy. I loved Ryan Murphy during his draft here. He's only 5'11", 176, but Bobby Orr was only 5'11". He was about 185 though. So it's very similar, and he's an offensive defenseman that will blossom. I like Ryan Murphy. I really like where he's going. Jeremy Welsh, like we're getting into some players that I really don't know too much about. Jeremy Welsh, he's 24 years old, a sniper with 3.5-star potential. I will skip down right here to Keegan Lowe, Kevin Lowe's son, who plays for the Edmonton Oil Kings. So I'm definitely well versed in Keegan Lowe. He's a great young player. I don't think they've given him enough justice in this game with his stats. and more importantly, his potential. He's tall, 6'3". He's 186 pounds. He will fill out, but that's pretty much it for all skaters. Like, you don't have much, and then goaltending, I'd imagine we don't have much, but we don't really need that in this series because we have elite goaltending in Cam Ward, and Peters is a pretty good goalie. So I think we're okay with everything as is. Now, pardon me, I had to get a drink there. Having said that, I told you guys I had a plan this year. I have a plan to make sure that we, I'm just going to upgrade that, make sure that we win. And I have a feeling I want to utilize kind of like what Hut does. You know, you have your chemistry and stuff. I think that there's a lot more to it than EA lets on. And I really haven't done it in the past, but if you notice with like Anaheim, I kind of tried to just fill the first line, second line, third line, fourth line. And that worked for a while, but I don't think that it necessarily works all the time. I think that the reason why you get on these big losing streaks is because you're missing certain player types, certain skilled players in certain positions, and you need to put them there in order to actually see some progress. So what we're actually going to be using, like I said, is the Hut chemistry way of using things. So I want to use right wings as right wings, centers as centers, left wings as left wings. Alright, that's my goal in this series. And not only that, but putting the right player types together. For those of you that don't understand Hut, if you're trying to get your max potential, your max chemistry at 99 or whatever, you need to make sure that you have the right player types assembled. Now, you can get this online. There's a reference. I do know them, so I want to be able to put a team together in that kind of a sense. So what I want to do first is I want to go look at our lines, okay? So, like I said, let's just do the best available. So, like I said, we have two first-line players on this team, Eric Stahl and Jeff Skinner. Alexander Semin is a second-line player, okay? He's not a first-line player. There's no doubt about that, all right? So, let's just start with this. I've got, the way you want to set it up is if you have a playmaker as your centerman, there's only two different type of player types you should be coupling with him. One is a sniper, and that's Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner's our sniper, that's fine. If he's a left winger. Okay? Or sorry, it doesn't really matter which with the wings as long as you've got one, right? The other one is another playmaker or a grinder. That's all that you want to put with the playmaker, with a playmaker center, is a sniper and a grinder, or a sniper and another playmaker. So we have two snipers on this first line. So right away I'm seeing a red flag. I do not want that. Chad LaRose is a grinder, but he's a third line scoring forward. He will suffer there, I can guarantee it. We're going to switch it for now, just to say that. But I'm actually in the market now for a first line right wing playmaker, or a second line right wing playmaker who's on the verge of making it big. So let's just kind of assemble things like this, put people in the right spots, and then we'll assess our gaps, okay? So second line center, we have Jordan Stahl there. He's a two-way forward. I absolutely love that. So with the two-way forwards, you want to couple them with another two-way forward, or you can, I think you can couple them. Yeah, if you got a two-way forward center, you got to do it with two-way forwards. Let me just pull up the list here quickly. Yeah, you got to get two-way forward players. So I would need to get a two-way forward left wing and a two-way forward right wing for this second line, which I can definitely come up with. I can find some things to tweak that I could figure out. Same with this third line, Tuomo Ruutu. He's a two-way forward centerman, but he's a second line forward. I think we're almost not utilizing him properly, and I would get rid of him. I would trade Tuomo Ruutu. And people are going, what? You're going to trade an 83 overall two-way forward as a second-line forward? Yeah, because all we really need is a third-line center. You know, we don't need a second-line center playing third line, and he's not getting any better. You know, he's maxed out. This is the best that Tuomo's going to do. Maybe one attribute up. That's it. One overall. So for now, Tuomo, that's all he's going to be. That's as good as he's going to be, so I definitely see Tuomo moving. And then depending on what kind of a center we get for the third line would shape our final third lines. And one of the things that I would like to do is get big players in here. Eric Stahl's big enough. Eric Stahl at 6'4", 205, he's big enough. But I'd like to get a big guy on this side. Chandler, or even Alexander Semin. Like, what, he's 5'11", maybe? Oh, 6'2". Okay, he's a little bit taller than I thought. He's pretty big, but I want a heavy guy. I want at least one heavy guy per line. You know, I'm thinking in the lines of, like, Milan Lucic, or Nathan Horton, or Dustin Brown. Those are the kind of players I'm looking for. Power forwards, big guys. Even Joe Thornton's rated as a playmaker in this game, but he's huge. He's a big body to play against, and I think that size is a big deal. I want to be one of the toughest teams on the ice. Hits, I want to be able to crush people. So Tuomo's a good hitter, but he's only 6 feet 205. So I definitely see Tuomo moving. Let's take a look at our final line here, and that's Yuri Talusti. They got him as a third-line scoring forward as a playmaker. I don't think I want to keep a playmaker as a fourth-line center. I'd rather have a grinder and have 3 grinders on that fourth line for defensive aspect. Pardon me, I had to get a drink. Okay, so it all really depends on your centerman. So if we kept Ruutu, say we did, I'd have to get two-way forwards here. We've got one in Dwyer, and we've got one in Bowman. All right, but Bowman is a sniper, 72, and he's a minor scoring forward. We don't want him. And Pat Dwyer is a minor checking forward. So, like, they don't fit here at all. Tim Wallace, because he's another forward, right? He's a two-way forward, but these guys are not suited for the NHL yet. We will get dominated on those bottom 2 lines. Jokinen is a sniper. He's a left wing. He's 81 overall. He is a second-line forward, so he does sit into that spot. But, like I said, we need that two-way. We need a two-way forward. So I would actually almost, what I'd like to do, because he's maxed out, right? I would imagine. Yeah. What I would do is move Jokinen down here to play him. You can play people down a line, but if you want to win, you can't play them up a line. That's unless you're developing. And this team's already got some good players in the lineup that can win, but they don't have any prospects. So we're not really developing them right now until I can pick up some players. But we want to be able to maintain our elite status with these players and still move on and develop our young guns. So I'd like to put Jokinen here, and he's a sniper. And the sniper wingers play best with 2 playmakers or a playmaker and a grinder. So I would want a playmaker center, I think. And then I think I'd want a playmaker or a grinder here. We could put Chad LaRose there. Bam, done. There's your line right there, but I need a playmaker center, okay? Sorry, guys. Okay, so on defense, the best pairings are really easy to figure out for defense. It's pretty logical. Offensive defenseman and a defensive defenseman are the best combination, or a two-way defenseman and a two-way defenseman. So as we sit right now, we got a two-way defenseman and an offensive defenseman, and then another two-way defenseman and another offensive defenseman. You don't trade offensive defensemen. But Joe Corvo is definitely not in the picture, and Sanguinetti is definitely not in the picture. Well, he's okay, but he's not an NHL-ready player. So I'm actually looking to get, we're going to keep Justin Falk. I'd like to get another two-way defenseman. We'll obviously keep Jamie McBain. Another two-way defenseman, and probably a defensive defenseman. So I would trade Joe Corvo and Sanguinetti to get those players. And then whoever else we needed. And maybe somebody with potential would be nice. And we can definitely keep Gleason and Pitkin and Nat for now until, I don't know. We're going to have to take a look at what we can get. We need definitely an overhaul here. Not a huge one, but an overhaul nonetheless. Power play, they left it open for potential and Hut. So I think that we'll leave it open for here. We're just going to put our best players on our best lines. You know, offensive defensemen playing together for the power play. And then just like that, you see what I mean? Offensive defenseman, and then two-way with Justin Falk. So now we know what we need. So I wanted to put Jamie McBain. We'd probably put Falk down, and that's nothing to do with Falk, but he's a 6th-line. Yeah, he's a top 6 defenseman anyway. So we put him down here, and we'll put like that. So we're getting rid of Sanguinetti and Corvo. We'll do this. Just so I know where I kind of want to put him. So I want a defensive defenseman to pair with McBain, and I want a better two-way defenseman to pair with Justin Falk. Somebody better than Sanguinetti. We could get away with Sanguinetti if we needed to, but I'd like to definitely get rid of Joe Corvo. He doesn't fit. We need another defensive defenseman. Okay. Oh, so having said all that, we're looking for a first-line right-wing playmaker with size. Okay, so let's go take a look and see what we can find for a first... Actually, let's start with the third line. We're looking for a playmaker, a center playmaker, third liner. Okay. And I want to get some size. So we go to GM options, trade negotiations, trading block. Oops. I don't want to trade players. Trading block. Okay, so let's go here. So we're looking for forward. We're looking for a third line. Do we have third line of scoring? Third line checking. Let's see what there is for both, and whichever one I like best. I'd like to get a little bit more of a... Let's go with a checking line forward to start. We don't care about age. We don't care so much about potential. We don't care so much about that. But I'm looking for... Can you search by player type? I don't think you can. That kind of sucks. So I have to check everybody? Are you kidding? Okay. Let's see what there is. Let's see what there is here. This is a pretty broad search range. So, okay. Let's sort by overall first, and then we'll go by age. So, most of the ones we're going to be looking for are 82, you know, things like that. Third line forwards. And can we sort by height at all? No, you can't sort by size, nothing like that, because this is a lot to go through. Okay, so let's kind of work our way through. Like I said, we're looking for centermen, so we're not in the market for like a Shane Doan or something like that. Like a Jarrett Stoll, at 30 years old, he'd be 35 by the time we're done. You know, his faceoffs are some of the best in the game at 90. I know that Jarrett Stoll's a good player, but he's a scoring forward. I don't even know how he came up. Anisimov is worth a lot, because his potential's at 4 stars. So he's definitely on his way up. But I don't like my third line players to be taking over top 2 spots, because we got Stahl and we got other Stahl, I guess, in there, and we don't really need anybody else. So let's go down the line here. We got Darren Helm. Darren Helm's a pretty good third line scoring forward. He's a 2-way forward. But remember, we got to keep an eye out for a playmaker. What's Stoll? He's a 2-way forward again. Fisher? He's a 2-way forward. I think Horkoff's a 2-way forward. Yep. Brandon Sutter, 2-way forward. Most of these guys are 2-way forwards. Oops. Matthew Lombardi, 2-way forward. Anybody a playmaker in here? In the bunch? Anybody at all? Well, no, definitely no. Is Bozak a playmaker? Bozak is a playmaker, and he's a third-line scoring forward with 3.5-star potential. He could definitely go up, and he's definitely somebody that I could utilize on that final line. 79 faceoffs isn't bad, but it's not great either. Let's take a look more down here. There you go. There's another playmaker in Lars Eller. He's a 4-star forward, and I would almost grab him before I grabbed Bozak, but look at the difference in value. For a third-line player I'm going to be trading away for, I think I'd rather sacrifice and just take up a Bozak than I would a Lars Eller. Just simply because of how much value Eller has. It's just his potential, right? It's his potential that weighs everything down. Martin Hansel, he's 6'6", 236. He's a 2-way forward. Bozak's pretty big, isn't he? 6'1", 195. He's not bad. We'll keep Bozak on our radar. Martin Hansel, he's a big son of a bitch, but he's a 2-way forward, and we're really not looking for a 2-way forward. Kyle Turris, we know he's a playmaker, and he's going to get better, and he doesn't fit our setup right now. Colin Wilson, third-line scoring forward, power forward. He's a centerman. That's a big guy. That's a young guy who's going to get a lot better. His potential's high because of it, and his value. Franz Nielsen, not really what we're looking for. Kyle Brodziak, there's a pretty big guy, but he's a grinder, right? He's not what we want. We want a playmaker. I don't know how many big playmaker third-line centers there are. We're probably limiting ourselves pretty much the whole time with my parameters. 2-way forward. It might be better just to overhaul that third line with 2-way forwards, because 2-way forwards are really cheap, and you can get them, and they're big. And then you got Galchenyuk, who's not really big either, but, you know, he's elite. Tiny. Damian Brunner, the elite sniper from the Detroit Red Wings. No. Craig Smith, Two-way forward. Centerman, 5'7". I really don't need any of that tiny. Dominic Moore, two-way forward. Derek Brassard is a playmaker, but he's really not that big. Marcel Gotch. Yeah, I'm almost thinking that this third line needs to be two-way forwards. So let me take a look here. Let me think. Who would I want if I were to get a two-way forward? Who's got some size? Brent Sutter? No, not really. No. Mike Fisher's not bad. What's his hitting at? 85, 85. Jarrett Stoll, 6'1", 210. Anisimov, 6'4", 200. Like, we're getting big now. I can't remember anymore about how big these guys are. No, not Darren Helm. Steve Ott. There's a grinder, though. He can hit like a bastard, that guy. Bozak was okay. Yeah, it was Hansel, right? Hansel, 6'6", 236. So I think that if I were to pick somebody up, Martin Hansel would be the one because of his value. His age is in the right spot. He's got the same potential as Bozak, but he's massive at 6'6", 236. This guy would be killing people. So let's go with Martin Hansel. Let's take him. So he's $3.2 million. Okay. All right. So would they be interested in our second line forward, Tuomo Ruutu? They would be interested in Ruutu. We want to get rid of him. He's a second line forward, a two-way forward. Now, they're pretty much even in terms of potential. I think that they would make this trade. And we got good rep with Phoenix. This is pretty much a straight-up trade for these two. Just because Ruutu's filling a need that we don't have, basically. And we're going to have to make trades for our wingers now. But I've got a more appropriate player to play our third line. And I've added my size that I really want. Because Hansel's 6'6", and Ruutu's like, what, 6 feet. So we added an extra 6 inches and basically another 31 pounds. So let's see if they make this trade. This is old-time hockey, straight across, one-for-one trade. Let's see how it goes. They took it. Bang. I'm happy to accept this proposal on behalf of the Phoenix Coyotes, and we consider it a done deal. I feel that was an even trade for us. And we just freed up some cap space, about $2 million with that trade. So that was a really good one. I like that trade. I really do. Let's see here. Oops, not trade players. I want to go to edit lines to take a look at my... oops. Coaching. Where are you? There you are. Edit lines. Okay. So now we have Martin Hansel playing that third line as a two-way forward. So now I want to basically find two more two-way forward third liners that aren't getting any better, aren't getting in their worst. They're in their prime right now. You know, they were made to play the second line or the third line, and then we can assess from there. Okay, and we're also gonna want some. We're gonna want. Well, I could put. No, I can't. We might have to get rid of 7 too. We'll have to see, because I want two-way forwards here as well on the second line. We've got some trades to make, guys, if I want to be able to hit this, the vision I have in my head. You know what? I could put a two-way forward, a sniper, and a playmaker together. That would probably work. A two-way forward, a sniper, and a playmaker. So I would need a playmaker for this line, so probably Jokinen. And we'll see how that goes. Alright, so now that we've added that, we'll jump into a trade here, but not until the next episode, guys. We've made a trade there. Send in your suggestions for any of the lines that you think that I could take care of with those setups. I'll show you them again really quickly here before we head off. That's what we have. You guys know what I want. I'm looking for size, and I'm looking to fill, right now anyway to start, a playmaker, left winger. And then we're also looking for a first line right winger. And I'd like to add some size, okay, guys? I'd like to add some size to that. And, yeah, I think that could be really good there. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. We'll check you on the next episode.